Hi, I'm Emily over at Chenard's, and today we're going to be speaking about how to do some basic pruning techniques. We're going to be using these two climbing vines. To the right I have a honeysuckle, which is deciduous and has a different scheme for thinning and controlling it than this holobelia. Whenever you start a pruning project, you want to make sure that you have the right tools for the job. For this project here, this is going to be our most favorite friend. It is a sharp pruner's snips. However, this only prunes up to a branch about a ½ inch in diameter. If you have a bigger job, you need a bigger tool. This is a great tool if you're doing limb work in trees, and it gives you a lot more leverage with the extendable arm. For large wounds, particularly on trees, you want to use a tree pruning sealer, which is like a dark tar that you paste over the wound to help keep bacteria and fungi from infecting the new cut. For really large branches, you want to use a saw, and you want to be sure that you do undercuts, which I will be demonstrating in a few minutes here. If you're unfamiliar with pruning, you want to be able to familiarize yourself. We have some very good books and literature here at the store to help you out. This has very clear diagrams if you're ever unsure about something. We use this as a resource very often. When you're making actual cuts, you want to make sure that you snip at an angle to the branch. So if we're going to be thinning this overall tree or vine or bush, it's important to remember you don't want to take more than 1/3 of the overall shrub. So if we're going to take this branch, we want to prune at an angle. We want to find a good healthy bud to help direct where new growth will be. So let's find a good upward branch. And you want to make a nice sharp cut. Now that branch will go upward and be able to twine itself in with the other vines as we see fit. And that's the basics of how to prune. Earlier I mentioned larger tree work and limbing, particularly with a saw. It's important that if you have a load-bearing branch, as you cut, your immediate reaction is to go from above, because that is easy. You should reverse from where you want to make the cut by at least 1/4 inch and make an undercut first. That way, when your force is directed down for the easier motion, you don't rip the bark off of the branch as it falls. This way you also use the weight of the limb to your advantage as you make your upper cut, knowing that your tree is safe from further damage. Now over here, we have a holobelia that's very overgrown. We've already made our initial cut, and we've decided that these lateral branches are unsightly, and we are able to thin the overall branching structure from this vine. This holobelia can handle about a 50% reduction in its above ground mass. That's a very intense and hard cutback. As I mentioned earlier, you don't normally want to go above about 1/3 of the overall plant. before you begin to take away its resources. So I'll demonstrate a small amount of pruning just one last time for these gangly and unsightly limbs. And we're remembering to cut at an angle close to the shrub, not only for its health, but also encouraging growth that is better to be able entwined. Now, it's up to you, as you prune this, how much of the overall bush you want to take. And you'll find as you go that you're taking a fair amount more than you imagined. This is quite a large branch. This is a significant portion of this overall shrub. So we want to carefully consider our newer cuts for the thinning of the branch. But that concludes the basics of our pruning lesson today. Thank you for watching, and we're happy to help you here at Chenard's. You can always give the store a call, and we're happy to help you in person. We hope you have a wonderful day.